Hey, good evening, Cougar basketball families. This is Coach Bo. It's Monday night about 5 o'clock, and I just wanted to go over a couple of our basketball philosophies, basketball standards, and try to clear up any questions you guys might have. It's a very short season. We're already 1 week into our 6-week season, so with our games getting going this week, I have some answers. There's still some questions out there, but hopefully, I don't want to take up too much of your time. But hopefully, what you see here tonight can kind of help us and answer some questions you might have. Again, my name is Tim Bowe. I'm the head coach here at Plainfield South High School. My assistant is Eric Vanderstuff. The sophomore head coach is DeAndre Redmond. His assistant is Isaiah Horde. Our freshman coach is Mr. Chris Fills, and his assistant is Coach Zach Browning. For our scheduling, up-to-the-minute updates, any schedule changes, I ask that you download the Band app. From there, you can find Plainfield South High or Plainfield South basketball on there, and I try to update the schedule as much as possible, especially being a winter sport. You never know when schedules are going to change. So everything as far as our schedule goes, you can find on the Band app. We are on Twitter as well, at South Hoops _ at South _ Hoops. If you get on Twitter, we communicate that way as well. First thing, we'll get into our transportation policy. And this year, you will have the option to bring your son to games, pick your son up from games. I'll hand out a waiver tonight. If you want to have him transported that way, you can certainly do that. We also will provide bus transportation to and from events. The timing of it is the critical part. We have a very small window of when we can enter the building. Typically, it's going to be 40 minutes before the game. So we have a couple away games. We play at Romeoville. We play at Minooka. It's important that we pay attention to bus times. On away games, our students will never enter Plainfield South High School. Right from your car, from the parking lot, we'll take their temperature, scan them in, and we'll get them on our bus. Right from the bus, we'll head to the visiting school. If you are going to transport your son to away games, that's fine. We just have to have that transportation waiver, okay? And immediately after the games, all of our teams immediately after their game will leave, with the exception of the freshman A game. The freshman A players will stay to watch the freshman B game, and then they'll all get on a bus and come back to the school, where they will go immediately from our bus to their ride. They will not enter Plainfield South High School. For home games, we're allowed to have our kids enter 40 minutes sharp prior to the game. Again, for home games, we wear white uniforms. Away games, we'll wear blue. There's going to be no place to change for both home and away games. So you need to dress appropriately for the weather and have your uniform on and be ready to go. Masks must be worn during the games as well. Each player is going to be responsible for their own water, both for home and away games. At this point, we are not having fans in our building. I don't see any change to that for an away game happening this season. I think in 2 weeks, we might be able to get some of our fans into our home games. But as of right now, no fans will be allowed into our game. Again, I hope that changes in 2 weeks, and we'll keep you up to date with that. We have 5 weeks left of the season. Our attendance policy. Okay, if your son's late to practice, you're going to have some conditioning and probably lose some playing time. If they have one missed practice, you're going to have they'll have conditioning and a decreased playing time. Second missed practice, your son needs to remove himself from the team. If you're at school, you need to be at practice. If you're going to practice, you need to be at school. You need to be on your Zooms. We get attendance reports every day. They'll participate for PE class during game days, everything. A missed practice is going to be characterized as no communication prior to the start. An excused missed practice is going to be because of faith, family, or sickness. Work is not an excused missed practice, okay? So if your son is working, they're just going to need to make a decision if they're going to work or play basketball. Here's a little bit about our commitment. We ask that our players be good students. You got to be passing at least 5 classes. Be a gentleman. Follow the Cougar Code. Need to be at practice. We practice on Saturdays. Again, we have 5 weeks left of the season. Commit to it. It's a huge part of what we do. It's mandatory. It's not just practice. Okay, it's the foundation for everything that we do. Our expectations of your son during practice: show up with a great attitude, bring some effort, and be in tune with what we're doing. It's going to be critical that you stay in communication with myself, your son stay in communication with his coach. If you're going to be late to practice, 5 minutes after that practice has started is not a good time to try to communicate with people. We have a couple goals for our student athletes this year. We want to be the hardest working program in the state of Illinois. We want to be the smartest working program in the state of Illinois. Each student athlete will have championship character, will make the right decisions in life, excel in life, especially in the classroom, have pride in our team, and we'll do it with class. We'll be on time to everything. We'll make a commitment, and we're going to keep it. Your son's made a commitment to the basketball team. We're so glad he's a part of it. He's going to keep that commitment. Show up to 100% of the practices, 100%. No drugs, no alcohol. As far as activity fee goes, I think you'll get billed at the end of the season just in case our season gets cut short. I believe that's why they're going to do that. We'll have warm-ups. We'll have a T-shirt, and we'll have a long-sleeve warm-up as well. That will cost $60. Checks can be made to Plainfield South High School, PSHS. Again, they'll be $60. Get a T-shirt warm-up and then a long-sleeve warm-up as well. As far as officiating goes, I know that you cannot attend games. This will go for future games that you are attending. And I hope that your son's watching this as well. This is a state playoff game. This picture was taken many years ago, and I'll never forget it. But this is a state playoff game. We've got 2 officials on a call. One sees one thing, one sees another thing, and I'm sure the fans in the crowd see a completely different thing. So just keep that in mind. It's a very difficult game to officiate. Sometimes you get it right. Sometimes it's very difficult to get right. But just keep that in mind. I hope you're showing your son this as well. So there's no surprises out there in the court. Always like that sign. A lot of our former players now, they're in the real world. Think of a lot of kids when I see this sign. You're going to have to be there. You're already carting our kids around. You're their taxi driver. You're their parent. Be a little psychologist as well. Give them some love when they need love, and when they need to step up and take on responsibility. Sometimes we got to tell them, hey, we need to step up and take some responsibility. As far as playing time goes, your son needs to talk to their coach to ask what they can do to become a better player. That's where it starts, a conversation between the coach and the player. Uniforms. Please wash your uniforms after every game. Cold water with light colors, especially since our kids are going to be wearing their uniforms out of the building. They'll have them when they come in and out. They're just on a lot longer. Please, please, please wash the uniforms after every game. Air dry anything with embroidery. That'll help avoid wrinkling. If your son, for some reason, needs to go to the doctor's office, we'll need a clearance from the doctor as well. Don't just take him to the doctor, come back, say, oh, we took x-rays, everything's fine. If you go to the doctor, you need to have an all clear to play note from the doctor. Doctors know about this, so just make sure that you get something in documentation that says they're good to go. Again, our attendance policy, we got 5 weeks left. If your son misses after the second miss, they need to excuse themselves from the team. This is Monday, and 5 weeks left. Make the commitment, put in the work, and we don't want this to be an issue. Here's our schedule. Again, as of right now, we won't have fans to the game. The day of the game or the day before, we will have a link where you can see our games streamed live. I didn't think that was going to be the case for the freshman games, but we will. Right now, we have the technology to stream even our freshman games. All right. All these times here are for the varsity. Freshmen will start at 5 o'clock. The B game will be immediately following that 5 o'clock start time. Our sophomores will play at 5, and then the varsity will play at 7. So our boys need to get here, have their own water, be dressed, ready to go. We get about a half hour to warm up. We'll play the game. Freshman A's will watch the freshman B, and then they'll all leave. They'll have to leave the building. The sophomores play their game, and then they're going to have to leave the building. And then our varsity will get here about 40 minutes, half hour before their game. As soon as the game's over, they've got to leave. It's a short season, but we're looking forward to it. I'm glad that we have something to be able to do. And it wasn't looking good for a while, but we're going to make the most of it. So please contact me if you have any questions or concerns. And yes, hopefully we'll see you sooner rather than later. But again, if this meeting, or if you have any questions, or if I didn't cover anything, please let me know. Thanks.